Hello there, Lisa Fitzgibbon here from Project 7 and welcome to our check-in service. So this is where we're going to hook up with our previous headline producers and our alumni from all around the world. We're going to find out where you are, what you're doing, what you're working on, how you're doing it, that kind of thing. Anyone who's been to one of our Project 7 events knows what an intensely challenging and rewarding week it can be, where forever friendships are made and creative connections that last are created. And this is the check-in service. So we're going to try and put everyone together so we can hook you up with your Project 7 kin. And today we're checking in with jazz soul singer, songwriter and Project 7 alumni, Lily Dior. Lily's had a phenomenal career to date and is recognised as one of Australia's finest singers. She's shared the stage with musical legends such as Oscar Castro Neves, Airto Moreira, Don Grusin and Dave Matthews, and has performed in some of the world's most esteemed venues, including the Sydney Opera House, London's Royal Festival Hall, and Soho's infamous jazz hub, Ronnie Scott's, just to name a few. In a review of her latest album called Let's Talk About It, Lily's songwriting has been compared to the work of the legendary Diane Warren. Originally from Australia, Lily now lives and works in London and is a founding member of our Project 7 alumni, having blessed us with her songwriting prowess and incredible voice at several of our songwriting retreats, including our inaugural one back in 2014. She is one sassy lady with an incredible voice and inspirational work ethic. Hello, Lily Dior. It's Lisa Fitz checking in. How are you?
Hey, Lisa. So good to see you.
Hello, lovely. How are you coping? Are you all right?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm staying positive. I've got lots of projects to keep myself busy with.
Brilliant.
And I've been enjoying the summer vibes of London, which has made this whole situation much more bearable.
Where are you right now, Lily? Where are you based at the moment?
I'm in North London, in Muswell Hill, which is very close to a lot of beautiful woods. So I've got Highgate Wood, I've got Queen's Wood, I've got a wood just near me called Coldfall Wood. I'm not far from the Heath, I've got Hampstead Heath up the road.
So tell us, Lily, what are you working on at the moment during this lockdown? Are you doing anything in particular?
I've got to finish an album, which I started writing for, when I moved here 6 years ago. It's been 6 years since I came to London, unbelievably. And, it's gone very quickly. I've got a musical that I'm working on as well. So I've got to do that.
Wow.
I'm also going to I just decided that I'm going to do a film clip for one of my songs from my last album.
Great. Which one are you going to use? Which song?
Well, there's two I want to do, but one of them I thought would be easier in lockdown is called Shadow Man, which is this ballad from that sort of snuck on at the end of my album last time after I'd recorded everything. I don't know if you've had this before, but, you sort of think the album's finished and then a song kind of goes, wait a minute. Yeah.
I mean, we've been talking to other Project 7 alumni about their work and their career. And I mean, yours is just jam-packed there's so much to talk about. I don't even know where to begin. If you could just give us a little bit of your history and the decision that you made as a really established artist in Australia to move to the UK. Would you be able to talk us through that?
The reason I wanted to come over here was to get out of my comfort zone, So I really felt like I needed to kind of challenge myself and just get out of that familiar circle that you can tend to get into when you're established somewhere. Well, it's very, very mixed and varied. I started singing in the town of Bellingen on the north coast of New South Wales. My dad, who was a wonderful jazz guitarist, encouraged me to sing with him. I would sit in at some of his gigs. We had a little gig at the local Italian restaurant when I was about 17. I was in the school musical, and that sort of just, everything took off from there. I joined the school rock band, and we were doing like 2 or 3 gigs a week up and down the coast, around Coffs Harbour, and supporting some pretty big acts, actually. And then I joined a local band there that ended up, we were going to Sydney a little bit, and we did some supports for Jump Back Jack, actually, yeah.
That's Jackie Ozowski you're talking
Yeah,
about.
Jackie Ozowski, who I used to go and see. I was a huge fan, massive fan of his. When I'd come to Sydney, I'd go and see Jump Back Jack. This is before we did the supports for them. And I just thought, I want to sing with that guy. This is the band, this is an amazing groove. This is an amazing band. I want to sing.
And you did.
This is it. I ended up, Jackie asked me to do, the vocals in his band.
Because during this time I was at music college up at Lismore with all the Crossfire crew. Exactly. And we'd come down, to Sydney in the holidays and stuff, thinking that we were really cool, being the North Coasters. And then, the Sydney scene was just on fire.
Halcyon days. It was really, you had the Harbourside Brasserie. You had, around midnight, you had all those venues. It was just jumping.
You came 6 years ago, so you arrived in London. You didn't know many people. You had your suitcase and your
exactly.
And you were like, hello, London, I'm Lily Dior. And 12 months later, you were playing at Ronnie Scott's.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if it was 12 months later, but I came over, and as you say, I had a couple of friends, but I didn't really know anyone in the music scene. So through a friend who I'd met here, she kept telling me about a bass player boyfriend that she used to have who's really good friends with her still. And she was like, Steve, I've got to introduce you to Steve. Eventually she did, about 6 months later. And he checked out my website and called me, immediately. He was like, oh, you sound great. Do you want to do a gig next month? And I was like, yeah, fantastic, Good. So that's where I met my pianist, and I met him, and I met wonderful drummer Winston Clifford. And they invited me to come. Before our gig, they were doing a gig at the 606 Club. And they said, come and sit in.
Institution.
That's it. And then I got to know, he started booking me there. Then I started doing gigs at Ronnie's upstairs. There was an Italian sax player who was booking me for gigs that he was running, a singers' night on Mondays. And then we got into Pizza Express, just sort of one thing led to the other, just sort of snowballing, as it does.
So what artists have influenced you the most, would you say?
My big hero as a kid was Stevie Wonder. Loved him. Hugely. I mean, all sorts of people. Stevie, Prince, Aretha, just George Benson. My mum used to have an amazing George Benson album. I mean, beautiful singer. As I got a bit older into my teen years, in the beginning it was all the funk and the soul and the rock and all that stuff as kids do. And then my dad started introducing me to people like Ella, Sarah Vaughan, Billie Holiday was a huge, massive influence on me, which is, my very first gig in Sydney when I moved there from Bellingen was doing a Billie Holiday show at a little restaurant cafe right near Centrepoint, right in the middle of town. And I went and spoke to the owner and I said, I'd love to sing jazz here. And she said, well, we only have singers in the evenings, we don't do lunchtimes, just piano and double bass. Have you got a show? And I was like, sure, I've got a show, I'll come up with a show. So I wrote a show on the life of Billie Holiday.
Wonderful.
And put it on for like 4 months. It went 4 nights a week for 4 months. It was just going and going and going. It just wouldn't stop. Everyone wanted to come and see the show. And that's where Jackie came to see me.
Yeah.
He heard that I was, doing this little gig and came one night to see us. And I was like, whoa, intimidated just a little bit, but also like really vibing, like this is the guy I want to see.
Well, that's a classic example of, having a concept, creating something from it, and then where that goes, where it goes out into the world. I mean, this time that we're locked down, there are so many people with little acorns of ideas that have had time to actually work on them. And we're yet to find out where your video is going to go, where all these, products of this lockdown, what impact it will have on the world.
This is it. Absolutely.
So can we talk a little bit about the technical side of your singing? Any vocal tips that you can give singers out there?
Mainly because I'm the instrument, we have to remember that as a singer, you are the instrument. So you've got to keep your instrument, in a good place, in a healthy place. So, I'm one of these people, I'm a bit of a health nut. So I'm always watching out what I eat, making sure I get a lot of rest, all of that sort of basic stuff, things that really nurture the voice and the body. But as far as, I'm a big fan of, the usual warm-ups, like the bubbling and the trilling, all of that sort of stuff. I'm really about, because I teach as well, I'm a singing teacher, and I'm really about tone and how you can increase your tone, because tone leads to flow, so the more you can connect with the vibration, the more your tone will flow, the more you'll get into the articulators, the parts of your voice that carry the sound, You can take your head resonator all the way down your range. You can't, there's a point where your chest resonator won't go higher, So I, really work on myself and with my students on building their head resonator, because that's where most people have their problems anyway.
Yeah.
And what happens is they get this sort of real disconnect between them, so they'll have this really, chesty, and then they'll get up here and they go,
and they're scared as well. It's almost like, here it comes.
Yeah, exactly. But if you can learn to really cultivate your head voice, it becomes a very powerful tool to connect the two parts of your...
Great way of thinking about it, though, as well, how it will help your chest voice. I've never thought about it like that.
Oh, totally. Because it's about sustaining resonance.
Throughout all your Project 7s, what is your most memorable Project 7 moment, if you have one? I
worked with Stu Jackson, who is just absolutely phenomenal producer.
Yeah.
He's... I sort of see him as the kind... He's like a sort of... I don't know. I don't want to say this it doesn't mean in a derogatory way, but he's like a cowboy. He's like really up for exploring, and it's like he's in the Wild West exploring new frontiers of creating, music making. That's the way it feels like that he approaches it to me.
Totally.
And I had no idea what to expect. I just sort of had a bit of, I thought, I'm going to be doing something a bit like Massive Attack, or it's going to be this, or it's going to be that. But no, he just wanted to get to know me. We wanted to listen to, tracks that we really were inspired by. It was like just starting from scratch. Wow, what do you like? What do you like? And we just sort of went into this fabulous process of jamming together, and then we started this groove, and it just sort of organically grew. He wasn't there going, okay, this is a thing, and let's just layer over it. He really just started from scratch with me, which was wonderful. And this sort of song started emerging. And I remember thinking, gosh, I'm so uncomfortable, but I'm enjoying this, like this is really kind of quite edgy and interesting.
Yeah, it hurts, but it's good for me. It's good for me.
Yeah. I knew it. Yeah, like what I said earlier about wanting to get out of my comfort zone. So in the lunch break, we had a bit of a chat, and, he said, oh, how are you doing? How's it all going? And I said, oh, look, I'm just getting used to being comfortable being uncomfortable. And he said, oh, that's my zone. That's the place I occupy. That's where I like to live, as a producer and songwriter. And I was like, wow, yeah, absolutely. It's not always about being comfortable, because we get stuck in these frameworks of how we do things.
Especially when we work on our own so much, especially when we, that's what collaboration's about. It's like pulling your skin, isn't it?
This is it. I think the power of collaboration is to get out of our comfort zones.
Finish up with some quick questions. Just tell me what you prefer. It's a bit of fun, really. So, cat or dog?
Oh, I'm a cat lady. I'm not a mad cat lady, but I love cats. Yes.
Not mad, just cat lady. Stones or Beatles?
Beatles, yes. Yeah.
Forest or beach?
Both, if possible, and together, if at all possible as
Even
well.
better. Maybe a forest going onto a beach.
Forest leading to the beach. I'm thinking Booderee National Park. Yes.
You can be that specific.
Yeah.
You've got it. Okay, sweet or savoury?
I'm a savoury girl, but every now and again I'd like to hit it hard with the sweets. Yeah.
This is going to be a hard one. Ella or Sarah?
Sarah, definitely Sarah. Yes. I do love Ella, but Sarah is,
something else.
The goddess.
Okay, city or country?
I'm a country girl at heart. Yeah, definitely.
Summer or winter?
Summer. But, not too hot, but summer, definitely.
And lastly, night owl or dawn chorus?
Definite night owl, yeah.
Lily, it's so nice to catch up with you. Thank you for your time. It's just been great to see your lovely face and to chat.
Lisa.
And come and see us when all this is over. Come and visit us in Stroud. And
I can't wait. I really would love to. I know I would just fall in love with it.
Go for a walk in the woods. You'll love it. And from all your Project 7 kin, good luck. And we look forward to hearing the fruits of your creativity.
Thank you. Thank you
so much. Bye, lovely.
Bye.
For more info and to apply to one of our Project 7 songwriting retreats, visit us at project7.com.